Hello and welcome. I'm Marites Vitug and this is Rappler Talk. The latest Pulse Asia survey on the May 2016 election shows two significant results. One, Senator Grace Poe for the first time overtakes Vice President Binay as top choice for president. Two, Binay, who for a long time led the polls, drops to his lowest numbers. What do these shifts in numbers really mean? And what should we be looking for in understanding this survey? Joining us today is Professor Ana Maria Tabunda, Research Director of Pulse Asia. She will help us make sense of the survey results. Hello, Professor Ana Tabunda.
Hi, Marites.
Thank you for joining us. For the first question, I'd like to ask you, please interpret the numbers of Vice President Binay because he dropped from 29% to 22%. Is he down to his core or Bayrest following?
We really won't be able to say if he's down to his core because we will need at least two more surveys where if his voter preference for him stays at that level, then it's clear he's down to his core. But until we see those results, we have no basis for saying he's down to his core.
So we still have to wait, you said, for two more surveys.
For two more, if they stay the same, but
then
if it slides or it goes up, okay. Then that's not his core.
Were you surprised by the increase of a following or preference for Grace Poe? Did this surprise you?
Well, no. No.
Why? You expected that she would overtake Binay?
Well, there was in the news another survey outfit that was already showing that they were statistically tied. That's one. We also had data from our past survey where other information were indicating she was really an alternative even back then.
But your survey shows that more would vote for her as vice president. It's about 41%. So does this mean that people like her to be vice president rather than president?
No, some people might prefer that she be just vice president, but obviously there's 30% saying she's good to be president.
But for her to make a decision, what would you advise her to wait and look at the next round of surveys? Because anyway, October is still the deadline for declaring one's candidacy.
Well, if the only basis for deciding whether to run or not is a survey, she doesn't have to wait. But that's not the only consideration. Actually, there are a lot of other considerations for a candidate to evaluate before deciding.
I was looking back at the 2004 elections wherein the father of Grace Poe, Fernando Poe Jr. was a very popular candidate against then President Gloria Arroyo. And the polls months before the election showed that he was leading much ahead of Gloria Arroyo, and he tied with Noli de Castro. And then Noli decided to run for vice president, so that left FPJ and GMA. Do you see a scenario wherein it will come down to a one-on-one race, let's say between, in the 2016 elections?
Right now, there are no indications how many actually will be the main contenders in the 2016. We're all not sure, except for one candidate who has expressed his plan to run for the presidency in 2016. The others haven't exactly declared that they will be running. So it's not clear how many the contenders are. It could be 2, 3, 4 main contenders.
In response, I saw a report whereby Joseph Estrada said he's 99% sure of running for re-election as Manila mayor. So that puts him out of the presidential race. So that means he won't be included anymore in the next round of surveys. So that will decrease or lessen the number of choices for president.
We normally consult a lot of groups when we decide on our list. And if the other groups think that somebody might egg the former president to run for whatever reason, we have to put him in the list.
Yes, I was surprised that you had two relatively unknown persons here in your list of choices for president, Camilo Sabio and Roy Señeres. Why did you include them?
Well, they announced in media that they are running. And for as long as these are former government officials, we include them in the list just so we have a reading. And of course, come campaign period, our list will be based on the COMELEC approved list.
On another item in your survey, Secretary Mar Rojas did quite well. He said he did 150% increase from 4% to 10%. So do you see anything significant with this? Is this something we should watch out for?
I think if you go by the numbers alone, by our error margin, it's borderline. Just one more, it's significant. If you look at it as from single digit to double digit, okay, because there's that kind of thinking that you tend to dismiss single digit, but you allow for double digit performance. You tend to entertain. I think it's significant in light of other factors apart from the borderline statistical significance. The other factors being, it's really not clear whether he will be the administration candidate or not.
At this point?
At this point.
So, what if, let's say, there have been hints about President Aquino endorsing Mar Rojas? Will it help him zoom ahead, maybe, from his present ratings of 10%? What does it mean to have a presidential endorsement?
It's not a guarantee that the people will necessarily vote for the candidate endorsed by a president, even as they respect that president for whatever achievements she has done, or they will necessarily respect the endorsement because it's not always transferable. That kind of trust and respect, it's not always transferable. But the endorsement of the sitting president is very valuable to any candidate because of the resources that a president can command, if she so desires it, in support of the candidate.
I was wondering, do you think that the rise of, as you put it, the rise of Secretary Rojas to the double-digit club, do you think that he rose because of hints or perception that the president would endorse him? Because I'm trying to look at events that happened during the time of your survey which would have propelled him to this double-digit club. So was there anything you found out?
I don't think it can be attributed to the perception of the people that the president will endorse him, because they have been sort of expecting it for some time back. That's always a possibility. Even they entertain that possibility as well. So I don't think it's due to that. It could be due to other things, but of course it's not really statistically significant. It's just borderline.
Okay, at least that we can be clear on. And going to the senatorial choices, one thing that's striking is that our celebrity boxer, sports hero Manny Pacquiao didn't do quite well. I think he's in the 8 to 14 rankings. So I thought he would be a shoe-in or a top #1 choice for senator. What happened?
Maybe if he won, if he won the last bout, he would really be well within the circle of 12. That's one factor. A second factor possibly is the people do love him, but they may be thinking of, well, this is a national position, this is the Senate. So some of them might not exactly, even as they love him as the pambansang kamao, they have other considerations in choosing their senatorial candidates.
Why wasn't he in the choices for president? He has not
He's
announced.
underage.
Oh, that we overlooked.
That's the only reason.
I see. Otherwise, you would have included him.
Well, people are thinking. Some people are thinking of him, so they're saying maybe 2022.
That's right. Okay. So because his promoter already said he was planning to run in the future for president. Oh. Another interesting figure who appeared in your choices for senator is Secretary Laila De Lima. As your media release mentioned, she is the only non-politician in the top choices. What accounts for her popularity?
I think she's visible. That's one. She has always she's among the two or three cabinet members who have high approval ratings, majority approval ratings. She's one of those. I think they like her courage. They like her forthrightness. And she's always also on TV.
Okay. But would you, if you were, I'm sure you're being asked advice by potential candidates, would you advise those who want to run to make it to the top magic circle of the Senate to do a Laila De Lima as a cabinet member who's always on TV every day?
It doesn't always work. I mean, some candidates are also on TV. The people that have their preferences, it's hard to explain sometimes. One lady can be feisty, another lady cannot. They think she's too matapang or but some feisty ladies they like. So it's really difficult to have just one formula. But definitely they don't like you're not being yourself. I mean, it's a put on or an act, or you're putting on a persona.
And maybe, Professor Tabunda, some people say that surveys like what Pulse Asia does influence voters. Do you caution us or the public to vote not based on the surveys you do?
Yeah, we really would. We look at ourselves as just measuring the preferences of our people, measuring their opinions, their perception. We do not discount that there are some individuals who will look at the survey and say, okay, I won't vote for this candidate anymore because he's not making sayang boto ko. There's that. We have a few. But we do not think we're the ones necessarily influencing the voters, because obviously their opinion shifts, okay, based on the information that becomes available to them. So if we were the only factor, then the VP's preference would have stayed at that high level. Obviously, we are not. And we would really like the people to consider the accomplishments, the characteristics of the leaders that they are electing. If they could actually do more research on their possible leaders.
That's a very comforting thought that this is just an indication and the voters have to do their own more thorough research. But as I looked at the results, can we say that there's a strong antagonism towards corruption? Is that the explanation for BNI's decline? Are people really looking forward to honest government as compared to maybe before? Is a desire rather for honest government higher than before?
I think yes. All things considered, the people would like an honest government that delivers the services. It's not just honesty. The government that provides the services that they need. Okay. Um, on the whole, they desire that now. But there are some of our people who have this, who are realistic. Okay, so they don't. They tend to tolerate a little corruption for as long as the services are delivered. So there's some kind of tolerance.
So we're okay with little corruption, but not on big time corruption.
It's hard to say, but we can't talk for everyone. We can't speak for everyone because people don't have just one position. That's why we're looking at the numbers to find out more or less how many are of this position or how many are of another position.
And Grace Poe's numbers, I think, would you consider them phenomenal? Because she's very new, she's a newbie. Well, she happens to be the daughter of FPJ. She projects herself well, but she's untested. She's just 3 years in the Senate. So you said people also want candidates to deliver. So what is an indication that she delivers?
Okay, a large part of this is perception.
Yes.
Yes. So even if people say we want people who deliver, even as they say that outright, their definition of what delivery is very, very varied. I suppose in her case, how she conducted herself as regards the BBL investigation, the reporting of the decision of the Senate on the BBL, that to some of our people is already some indication of her capacity. So, is it phenomenal? That was your question, the 30% considering that she is a newbie? I would think so. So many newbies can't even get to the senatorial slate. I would think so. But of course, Grace had the advantage of being associated with FPJ.
Yes. So maybe the last question, if you were asked by Vice President Binay to advise him on how to increase his numbers, as a person who does polling, who's very scientific, what would you, based on all your historical data, what would you advise Vice President Binay? Because he said that this is a wake-up call for him.
We normally try to steer away from political strategy when even our subscribers ask us. We say, okay, please consult your political strategists. But I do appreciate the fact that the Vice President put it that way, that this is a wake-up call for me, that he didn't question the results of the survey, that he didn't malign Pulse Asia. I appreciate the fact that he put it that way.
So others who don't agree with, who are at the losing end in your surveys, malign you?
Well, not just that, they sue us.
Okay, so on that note about how maybe our politicians and officials should regard surveys is not to disparage them, but rather to look at them with an open mind. No? On that note, Professor Tabunda, we've been talking to you for the past minutes. It's a very been enlightening discussion. Thank you very much.